Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Do you know that great feeling when you get into bed, fall straight to sleep, and wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day? No, I don't either. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Call in. Come on. Good morning. And a good morning to you on a Tuesday, already March 20th. Where is this year gone? Holy moly. Good morning. Our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale. And also, Zeb at the Ranch thanks all of its advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I thought you were on vacation.
Well, maybe next week.
Okay.
Going to go see my great-grandson, my first great-grandson.
Oh, you're not old enough to have great-grandchildren.
All right, your check's in the mail.
Make it a big one. Thank you. Okay. All right, talk to you later. Good morning, everybody, and our weather forecast is next, brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Right there, easy to find on the Burley-Paul Highway. You know, this is, by the way, the first day of spring. Welcome springtime. And I'll tell you what, get ready for outdoor cleanup and all the work outside. All the lawn and garden equipment is right there at K&R Rental with Roger and the crew. Get a hold of them today. Stop in or give them a jingle, 678-3122. K&R Rental. Right now, here's the weather.
Looks like precipitation is going to be in the forecast for today and throughout the rest of the week. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Slight chance of rain showers, possible snow showers this afternoon, especially up in the higher elevations. Mostly cloudy skies, high close to 50. Tonight, isolated showers. Mostly cloudy skies with a low of 36. For tomorrow, 40% chance of showers, mostly cloudy skies, high close to 60. Winds are going to be picking up tomorrow as well. For Thursday, showers likely, about an 80% chance, high near 60, and winds are going to be picking up gusts as high as 30 miles an hour. For Friday, slight chance of rain or snow showers before noon, partly sunny by the afternoon, and a high of 52.
Holy smokes. Looks like we're going to get some precip. And good morning, everybody, but we'll keep you posted on that. Thanks, Gina. Weather brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Hello, Roger and the crew. Roger and out on the Burley-Paul Highway. Call them for all your questions, 678-3122, K&R Rental. Want to also remind you, Thursday is always sale day at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And don't forget, this is the sale that works for you. Merv May, Cade Rogge, Lance Udy, and they're all at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for cattle consignment sale information, 678-9411. Don't forget, Thursday sale day at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard in Burley. Absolutely. Hey, by the way, too, I'm going to be telling you about Lunch Bunch in just a minute, but I want to remind you about Daryl's Cleaners. And Deanne was telling me that all the teachers in the area for Minidoka and Cassia County, if you'll go into Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, show them your card and you'll get a 20% discount. And I want to urge everybody, don't take those winter jackets and those sweaters and everything that have got gravy stains or whatever on them and throw them in the closet. No, go get them cleaned now so they're ready to go for next fall. Daryl's Cleaners, Kevin, Cindy, the whole crew at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Yes, I have had some calls and people said, when's Lunch Up Bunch going to be? And I said so many times yesterday, I got it on my log, I said it 6 times yesterday. And we'll say it 7 or 8 more times today, probably. Lunch Bunch will be this Thursday at Denny's. Yes, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. And it starts at 11:30, and we urge you to come on down. Come on down if you've never been there before. Please, we'd love to have you. And no admission necessary unless you want to hand me a check. Anyway, come on down and absolutely have fun sharing all the door prizes we're going to have, of course, from Walmart, Smith's Foods, and Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin. Hello, Doug. He didn't know that yet, but he'll bring something. And Pomerelle Place and Denny's, we really appreciate it, at America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. Great people and outstanding, delicious food at Denny's Restaurant. Another bomb in Austin, Texas last night, and it went off inside of a FedEx building. No one really injured. There was a lady that was in the building that suffered severe headaches because of the concussion of the bomb. But now already we have heard just in the last couple of minutes, another bomb has been found. They think they're checking it out right now as we speak in another area. And also, and it infuriates me to have to say this because we don't know all the particulars. A shooting was reported at a Maryland high school, at Great Mills High School in Maryland. But, and I want to urge caution on this, the reports are not in. And the police and authorities are saying the situation has been contained. Now, don't everybody run off the deep end and say, oh, no, another mass shooting. No, we don't know anything about it yet. Nothing. As a matter of fact, one police officer off the record said no fatalities. We don't know that much about it. And as soon as I hear more, I'll pass that on to you. It's kind of tough for me sometimes to keep up to date on all the minute-by-minute changes because of being on the air live, but we will check it out. Again, Maryland shooting at a high school reported, but nothing any clear-cut from that. We don't have all the information. Don't forget our dear friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, my goodness. Every day, Monday through Friday, serving you from 7:30 to 5 at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. You know, they've been in business. This is such a tribute to them. They've been in business almost 60 years. Wow, that's dedication. Wow, that is great people. Wow, that is knowledge of the industry, and they've got all that. So please stop in and see them today or give them a call at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Really good people. Oh, and real quick, too, for the seniors in our audience, and I really, really want you to pay attention to this because it is, I think, absolutely imperative for your safety and perhaps for your loneliness and for your nutrition and your medication. Pomerelle Place. Yes, a place for senior living. where really it offers the ability for seniors to maintain their independence, both safely and comfortably, but yet cut down, minimize, and absolutely help you with the risk that seniors face. So please call them today at 677-8212. That number again, 677-8212. Pomerelle Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. All right, let's start getting some calls in here. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm beginning to think that the liberals in our United States, and for that matter all across the world, they must sit together and on the floor with their knees folded underneath them and Haroom, and then they come up with these goofy, stupid ideas on how they can have an equal type living style for everyone in the world. Nobody gets more, nobody gets less, but they all are treated the same, like a bunch of doggone sheep. Now, some liberal loons are taking issue with speeding tickets. Let that sink in a minute. Liberal loons are taking issue with speeding tickets. That's right. One guy in particular was on television the other night, and then I read a story about him. They say that speeding tickets should be based on your income. And if you have a better job and you have more income coming in, you should pay more than the people that are suffering and they don't have all the ways and means, and they should pay less. Well, I've got a great solution to this problem, and it's really earth-shattering. Don't get picked up for speeding, don't speed. Amen. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, this idea of having a caucus in our judicial system or whatever, why do we have the Black Caucus, the Spanish Caucus, and all of those? I thought we were on one page.
No, and we never will be. And quite frankly, I'm concerned that what we gained since the 60s in Alabama and everything else during that period of time up to modern day times has been cast in the trash basket, thanks to the likes of Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, and others. No, we're in a very dire situation right now, my dear friend, and it's getting worse. There is more divisiveness in the races, I think, now than what there was in the 60s.
Yeah, but that just seems so stupid. It's like when you were in school and you had your own little gang.
Yeah.
You know, and you got together and discussed how you could destroy the others and sort of things like that.
Well, what's the difference, Keith?
I just don't understand.
Well, Keith, what is the difference? You mentioned the Black Caucus, the Hispanic Caucus, and everything. Okay, then why have, and I've often wondered this, why in the world would there be a segregation point of having a black Chamber of Commerce?
Oh, that's the stupidest thing I've heard of, Zeb.
Well, it's happening. It's occurring. It's a real live living organism. It's for real, but why have it? I don't understand why we have to have segregative ideas. Black Chamber of Commerce, Black Caucus, or Hispanic this, that, and the other. Why can't we try to come together as one nation under God and let it be that way?
Well, it's even Republicans against Democrats. You know, I've never felt so angry inside about the Democratic Party. I never have. I mean, I can see how we had the Civil War now because of the way they're building this thing up.
Well, right now, don't think the Civil War was something akin only to the 1860s, because I'll tell you what's building in this country, and I hope I am so wrong. We're seeing a crescendo build with the Democratic Party, with the likes of Kamala Harris and Cory Booker and others that are absolutely plugging in and utilizing anything about race. And I'm afraid that if Kamala Harris gets the nod from the Democratic Party, or Cory Booker for that matter, to run for the presidency, I'm afraid that they're going to play the Black Lives Matter card, and we're going to see more of a racial divide ever before in this country. We're never going to see the problems that are coming and looming on the horizon.
That's true. And, you know, now our news media picks up on every little thing.
Yeah.
And these people who are out to do us harm, this is like feeding them fodder.
Oh, I tell you what, it's a destructive denigration of America that the left slobs, and that's what they are, absolutely are in a feeding frenzy. Keith, I got to pay a commercial bill, but thank you. It's good to have you back home.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Nice people right there. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Today, as I mentioned a moment ago, is the first day of spring. I feel like going out and leaping and bounding across the lawn. But if you know me, that ain't going to happen. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Dino's Septic Service. Oh, I know. You don't want to do that job. No, you don't. And they do. And they give you absolutely the best in service. Fast, fair, friendly service. Dino Septic Service. They've got bigger. They've expanded. They are there to serve you with septic tanks that need being pumped, backhoe service, water and sewer lines installed, and sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, and liquid waste removal. What are you waiting for? Write these numbers down. 436-6526. Or in Burley, 678-1638. With that big truck. I chuckle. I can't help it. I saw that sign the first time they pulled in my yard to help me. Smells cargo on the way. Dino Septic Service, you get a hold of them today. Really good people. Oh, and let me also, if I may, just take a quick second and tell you about our friends with Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric. Airvana, or if you live in another part of the country, they say Airvana, but it might be Airvana, is defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. And when you buy a new Lennox home comfort system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana is just another way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. What do you think about this? I mean, having how much money do you make on a per annum basis? Well, I make this much. Oh, well, then your speeding ticket is going to go up. Holy moly, we were only going to charge you $80, but now we know how much you make. We're charging you $320. Or, on the other side of the coin, I only make this much. Well, we'll minimize it. We'll just go ahead and drop it down. Is $20 too much? You know, the whole thing is, it's nothing more than a stupid, silly equality nod, if you will. And let me give you some other ideas about how dumb things are getting. Loony left like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren, and Michael Moore, all of them are millionaires. They're millionaires, and they're set, basically, for life. But they come out and they criticize other people with money, and they criticize capitalism, and they criticize the way things are going in this country because those that have should go without or minimize what they have and give it to the others that are too darn lazy to work and try to move themselves up the ladder and have better career choices. Oh, no, we just got to give it to them. I never thought in my lifetime I would see what's happening in this country, to where the greatest country in the world, a capitalist country, where you can succeed if you go out and try and utilize the talents that God gave you. You can be successful. But you're made to feel guilty by these absolute dipsticks that want everybody to be like a band of sheep. Caller, I'll be right with you. Don't go away. I want to remind everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Hello, Nick Greenwell. I'll tell you what, now they have all the exercises to help you with the aches and the pains and maybe the recovering from surgery or an accident. Oh, yeah, they're good. I know they're good because I went there for a long time. They helped me with that hydrotherapy pool. Oh, my, that's good. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Call them, 678-1191. They can and will help you get back to being you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, hi there, Sunshine Superman.
Hey. I seen that this morning, and I had to chuckle, and then I got to thinking, if I was there and asked them a question, I'd say, okay, let's put your checkbook where your mouth is.
Yep.
You, Mr. Moore, you have $30 million. Okay. You take $1 million, keep it. That's more than enough money for anybody to live on.
Uh-huh.
You take your other $29 million, and let's get some low-income people and give each of them $500,000, each family.
Oh, yeah. Spread it around.
Make them happy. So you can show us how to spread the wealth.
You betcha. You did say spread the wealth instead of saying spread something else, didn't you?
Right. Well,
okay.
They're spreading that without spreading the wealth.
You know, the whole thing about this is you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a college professor. You can sit down and see the analytical means of what they're trying to do. They're trying to just tell everybody, oh, socialism is the answer. Everybody gets this much. You better learn to live with it because, partner, we're taking the rest away. This is insane. And these younger kids, the millennials, are buying into this stupid thing.
It is because they've been taught we're a fast food mentality. I mean, you pull in, get it, and you go. Everything you get needs to happen right now.
Yeah. Drive in, put your money up here. Yep, go broke.
Nobody working and saving for it. What you want it right now.
Yeah, but Doug,
just come out of college, just get a job, and they want to have a $500,000 home.
Yeah. You know, there you go. And right there, I have spoken to a lot of different groups and gatherings across the United States. And I just don't understand why people don't take 2 minutes and step in front of the mirror and just stare at the person that is staring into the mirror, get to know that person, kind of categorize and itemize the talents that you have, the abilities that you have, look at your current situation and say, you know what? I can better myself. I can do this. I can do that. I will try this. Nobody should ever sit there and just be a leech when God's given us all talents to succeed if we will get up off our big, fat, rosy derriere and go to work.
Exactly. And one thing I can say to these people that are afraid to go out and do something because they might fail, never be afraid to fail. I have failed I don't know how many times. I have fallen on my face. I've been macaroni and cheese broke. Roman noodles broke.
No.
You just work, you build yourself back up.
Hey, you know,
that's where you learn. You just don't make that same
That's right.
Again.
That's right. I'm so sick and tired of these people saying, oh, I just can't. Well, did you try? No, I just can't do it. Oh, get a life. I am so sick of... Now, wait a minute. Let me pause for a moment. And let me also say, Dougie, my dear friend, that there are those that do have the problems in life that will not allow them to go out and try because of maybe injuries, illness, sicknesses, disease, or, you know, whatever happened bad in their life. And I have nothing to say to those people other than a prayer. And I absolutely pray for them because I'm ready to help them. But you know as well as I do, A large percentage of these leeches are absolutely doing nothing but taking up space and dust on the couch while we work and feed them.
Exactly. Yeah, and I seen one the other day. Her hairdo was the ugliest thing I ever did see. And she had more metal in her face and her ears, driving a fairly nice car, and paying for food with food stamps.
Yeah. The kind of a person that if it's midsummer and there's a thunderstorm, you don't want to be within 400 feet of.
Yeah. Hey, I just had a customer come in. So
Well, go make some money, buddy.
All right.
Okay, see you later. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It'll never fail on this program that the minute I start criticizing the welfare recipients and the welfare system in this country, I know that people will wait until after the program. You know, that's when the real brave people come out. And they'll call me on my cell phone, and they'll, oh, by the way, let me give them my number, 312-2976. They'll call me on my cell phone after the program, and then they'll rail against me. So I want to give them all the help I can. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's not forget our friends at Barry Equipment and Rental Sales Service and Parts at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Hello, Juan, the old football buddy over there. Good coach, good guy. 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls with Eli. He is number 2 Green Bay Packer fan. I'm number 1. And, of course, another office up in Nampa. Don't forget that they have the Walker lawnmowers, and you're probably saying, well, Zeb, didn't you hear that it might snow today? Yeah, but it's going to be short-lived. Yeah, we're first day of spring. Got to think positive. You better get in there and check out the Walker lawnmowers. You better check out the Bobcats. All the equipment rentals and retail equipment sales at Barry Equipment and Rental. I'm going to sneeze in a minute. I just want to give you forewarning. Oh, boy. Anyhow, Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. You stop in and see them today. Did you ever have that inclination that all of a sudden, look out? It didn't happen. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I want to talk a little bit about how absolutely stupid, and I'm going to underline that word, stupid, some people can be that hold a political office and have a political microphone and use it to absolutely show the world how stupid they are. Did you hear about a Democrat that is on the Washington, D.C. City Council? And he came out with a tape recording that blamed Jewish people for the bad weather and climate change. Yeah, he passed that out. It was out for public scrutiny. It was on TV last night and again this morning. And his name is Trayon White. And honestly, when you hear statements like this, my first thought is, honestly, how could they be, excuse me, that diminished in their brain power to come out and say something so frivolously stupid and still represent the people in Washington, D.C. City Council? Woo! There ought to be everybody that knows him and is underneath supposedly his representation. They ought to be storming the door saying, throw that bum out of here. He's nothing more than a silly, perverted racist. You know, this is ridiculous to say, oh, the Jews, yeah, they're responsible for bad weather in this country and climate change. I told you. I mean, it makes such an absolute ass out of people in public that are working for the public and serving the public to have somebody that dumb in any type of an office. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, little short story here. I'll tell you a little bit about this next one in a minute. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Okay, I'm back.
Well, we missed you, and we want an itemized report of what happened while you were gone.
Nothing much.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Anyway, I was going to... Have you heard about that Peter Schweitzer's new book coming out?
Peter Schweitzer.
Schweitzer, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yes, I guess if I corrected you, I would say, yes, I have.
I'm sorry, I mispronounced his name. But, people saying capitalism's bad, but the only capitalism that's bad is crony capitalism.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. He nailed Clinton Cash, and he had it nailed before anybody was even starting to investigate it.
Yep.
And now he's brought this out. I wouldn't put it above him, and I guess there's stuff on Obama that's just scarier than heck.
Oh, I tell you what, if we only in our lifetime will know how insidious and absolutely dangerous Obama was because of the puppetry actions of others that were playing the strings, I think it would scare you.
Oh, I know it would.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, let me ask you something. Talking about capitalism, we've talked about this before on the program. And by the way, other calls are welcome on this, 436-2244. You mentioned that you, like I've had some failures in my life. Oh, my goodness. I've invested money in various projects and tried to do certain things that went ploop down the drain. But if you were living in a communist country, a socialist country, what do you think the opportunities for Doug Martin would have been to have a do-over, makeover, and be where you are today?
Zero.
Bingo.
Zero.
I am so blessed, and I mean this, with all the different physical problems I've had in my life, to which I've got a stack of things that are about a mile high. I will take every one of them and be happy as a lark because I live in the greatest country in the world. I have been afforded opportunities with a little get up and go and gumption that have prevailed, and I've been highly successful in those different ventures. But it's not because of just me and my drive. It's because I also live in America. God bless America.
Exactly. And you are a prime example that people with disabilities and problems can make a life of themselves for themselves and make a living and be proud.
I don't look at it as disabled, ever. Because that's a word I don't like to use, and I'll tell you why. When you look at something that's disabled, like in World War II, disabled tanks or machinery, that's something that can't function, it's not going to go anywhere, and it just lays there and rusts. Well, I am not a person that's going to lay there and rust. I've got physical challenges that I've overcome. Wheels at our station has overcome physical challenges. Get out of our way, because if you stand in front of us, we will roll right over you.
And that's well said there, Zeb. Your only disability is yourself. Your lack of wanting to try, of wanting to better yourself. That's your only disability.
Well, if somebody gets out of bed in the morning and they say, well, you know what, I just am so tired, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'll sit on the couch until about noon, and then I might walk down to the post office. What a waste of a life. They should get out of bed in the morning and say, what kind of a challenge can I beat today? And I try to do that every day.
Well, I've gotten out of bed many times and say, man, I'm tired.
Well, I do that too.
Stay in bed.
Yeah. But, I've married a wonderful, wonderful lady that both her and we work well together. Oh, we fight like cats and dogs. Look out. We might waste some pillows in a pillow fight or whatever. But I'll guarantee you she has been one of the greatest motivators to keep me going and really running down the rails to try this, try that. Well, if that doesn't work, then try this, or try a little harder. I mean, what is the matter with people that they want to waste their life just being kind of a human human form of Jell-O.
Well, like I said earlier, it is the fast food mentality.
Yeah.
It's give it to me. I don't want to wait for it. I don't want to earn it. So
you know so many people. You started a business over there in that area that absolutely is a service to the public. You have to break away. You've got customers coming through the door. That means they trust you. That means you do a good job. You like your business. You're married to a nice lady. You help others. You support the seniors. I mean, you've got a lot of things going that you want to live for, and you want to really help other people. How can people just get out of bed and be, like I said, a glob of Jell-O and not do anything?
I don't know. It's got to. I don't know where they get that mentality, but it is. They have it, and then they pass it on to their children.
Yeah.
And they pass it on to their children. Here's an easy way to survive.
Couldn't agree more. I got to pay some bills, buddy. Thank you.
You betcha. Hey, God bless, and let's do what we can for our seniors. I know I sound like a broken record, but they built this country. Let's take care of them.
Okay, and the needle is now in the grooves. Return to the beginning and start to play it all over again.
God bless.
All right, take care. Hey, don't forget Airvana. No, I messed it up. Airvana is defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. When you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric Put Up, you can get up to... I really have messed this up. You can really get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana is just another great way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459. Got through it. Thank you. Also, want to remind you, if I can find it, hang on just a minute. I know it's coming up, excuse me, this weekend, and it's Rogge Auctions Big Spring Consignment Sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. Going to start at 10 o'clock. They're going to bring down the gavel, and they're going to start selling a whole bunch of great stuff. I mean, tools and ATVs, trailers, pickups, farm equipment, lawn and garden supplies. Wow! All of this with Cade, Ron, and Jed at Rogge Auctions. Great Big Spring Consignment Sale this Saturday, March 24th, starting at 10 a.m. You better be there. And you still have time, I think, to make consignments, so get a hold of them today. Rogge Auction. Absolutely. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. To let you know how backward and absolutely dim-witted our society is becoming because of the liberal left, at the University of California, Santa Cruz, they have made a list. I'm not kidding. I saw this list. They have made a list of various phrases, like various things that you say, that will not be, here's the key word, tolerated on campus. Doesn't that make you giggle a little bit that somebody's going to say, this will not be tolerated to be said on campus? Who's going to stop me or you or anybody else from free speech if people have the guts and the backbone? Just stand up and say, back off, Jack. I'm going to say what I want to say. Phrases like, and this one will knock your socks off, America is a land of opportunity. Yeah. They don't want you to say that on the college campus. America is a land of opportunity. And here's another one, and I bet you I've said this to uncountable numbers of people in a conversation about where did you come from and all this, where were you born. They want to make sure you don't say that to anybody. No, you can't ask them where they came from. Or you cannot ask them where they were born. What is it, a big secret or something, for heaven's sakes? Like on the old Groucho Marx show, the bird's going to come down and go quack, quack, you're out of the show? This is ridiculous. No, it's crazy. And all of us should be making a concentrated effort to say more things like that. America is the land of opportunity. Holy smokes, folks. When they raise that flag up on that pole, don't you feel the chill run up your backbone? Don't you feel the pride? Don't you feel the tears well up in your eyes and be thankful that you live here? Instead of listening to these clodhoppers that absolutely are lower than what's out in my horse corrals and ridicule this great country? Holy man. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. I'm very proud of my country.
Wheels, you got to turn up the caller, man. You got to ride the game, buddy. Go ahead.
So I'm very, very proud of my country, and I'm very, very proud of the veterans and the people who live here, even though they didn't serve, the ones who stand up for what they believe in and work hard every day, the ones who started from nothing to have a little bit of something. I'm very proud of them kind of people.
Well, we should be.
I have every right in the world to say that I'm proud of it, and there isn't anybody in this world who's going to make me change my mind.
Amen. And be that way. Be vocal that way. And when you hear somebody running this country down, just look at them and say, man, I feel sorry for you because you evidently didn't get past crackers and milk in kindergarten.
I agree. One thing I'd like to say before I go is, if we got colleges pushing this around, they should not be getting any kind of federal, state, or local financial aid at all. None. And if a student wants to go there, that particular college, they shouldn't get any financial help from the state, federal, or local governments.
Amen. Amen, buddy. Hey, it's good to hear from you. You take care of yourself.
You too.
All right. Thank you much. Caller, quickly, before I do the weather, I'll take your call. Go ahead.
We need to start emphasizing that in America I can. In America I can. What does that mean? When we're in America, we can. And let's quit being the naysayers.
You know, I like that. I don't think I've ever heard that phrased that way, but I want to salute you for bringing that up this morning. You know, you've had a wonderful family, and I enjoy having you talk to me on the air because you believe in the American spirit. You believe in what our forefathers fought and died for. You believe in the concept of capitalism and this great country, and it's so refreshing to hear people join me this morning. I don't want to hear any more of the naysayers. I don't want to hear anything like the Bernie Sanders or the Pocahontas Warrens or the Michael Moores or all the negativity. The opportunities are here in this country if people will get to work and pursue them.
Well, when you don't succeed in the United States of America, you ought to just go home, to go back to where you came from. Because why did you go to all of the trouble to come to the United States where opportunity is on every corner?
Amen.
And you don't take advantage of it.
Amen.
So, I don't feel a bit sorry for most of them.
You know, I don't even feel sorry for them anymore because we all have the opportunity to use the career talents and also the brain matter to really try to further ourselves and help our families and do a better job. And if they can't do that, I've lost my sympathy for these people. Chris, I got to get a weather forecast on. Thank you so much.
It's good to be sunny.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. I hope so. Hey, the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they're located right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. The number to call, 312, and I almost gave my cell phone again, 312 0957. I don't want to confuse me with them, okay? Because I can't help you with your hearing. They can. They've got Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell, and they really are hearing specialists. And they can help you with hearing screenings and anything to help enhance your hearing. Okay? Get a hold of them today. 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Right now, here's the weather.
Looks like precipitation is going to be in the forecast for today and throughout the rest of the week. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Slight chance of rain showers, possible snow showers this afternoon, especially up in the higher elevations. Mostly cloudy skies, high close to 50 tonight. Isolated showers, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 36 for tomorrow. 40% chance of showers, mostly cloudy skies, high close to 60. Winds are going to be picking up tomorrow as well. For Thursday, showers likely, about an 80% chance high near 60, and winds are going to be picking up gusts as high as 30 miles an hour for Friday. Slight chance of rain or snow showers before noon, partly sunny by the afternoon, and a high of 52.
Very skilled and compassionate audiologists that know hearing and how to take care of your hearing problems. Please get a hold of Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Pickup, two wonderful people at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. The number to call, 312-0957. Wow. Let's see what else have we got. Oh, good news. Good news. I believe it was in the town of Los Alamitos, California. The city council got together and they said, no, we don't believe in Governor Jerry Brown. We don't believe in sanctuary cities and policies and also sanctuary state. The heck? That's not what some of them said. The heck with this nonsense. And they voted no to become and stay a sanctuary city. Good for them. Good for them. I appreciate that. Let's see what else have we got cooking here this morning that I would like to... Oh, this is going to be serious this weekend, I'm afraid. That there are huge anti-gun marches across the United States this weekend. And I did a little checking on that, and some of the areas where they're going to have some of these anti-gun marches will include some really close home to us. Portland, Oregon, and Boise, Idaho. Right here, state capital. And I am afraid that these problems are going to be escalated with a movement to deteriorate and throw away our Second Amendment. And when I looked at some of the celebrities that are involved, George Clooney, Oprah Winfrey, Steven Spielberg, Kate Capshaw, just to name a few of the absolute you should not have any kind of a gun crowd, this is a little bit spooky. So we'll see what happens this weekend with these huge rallies. They're saying huge. We haven't had the determinant factor of seeing how many turn out. But they're calling these marches March for Our Lives gun control rallies all across the United States. Want to remind you, calls are welcome. I'd love to talk to you. I got just a moment or so I'd love to have you on the air. 436 on this first day of spring. Everybody go to the garage and grab your spades and your rakes and everything. Wave them in the air and say, I'm going to attack my lawn. There you go. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with a great big roll into spring tire sale. They've got all the tires for you. Like on sale right now for your cars, the Eclipse tire, all-season traction, advanced tread design, starting at just $61.97. Whoo! And then, of course, don't forget they've got many other tires on sale for your pickups and SUVs. The Open Country HT, that is a good tire. Quiet running, smooth ride, starting at just $151.04. All of this and more. The best in brake service. I mean that. And front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. I mean, these people really know how to help you and help your driving safely with the best of tires and other things for you and your car. I told you, you better stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Stop in and see them today. We have a full plate today. Boy, do we ever. I mean, next hour we're going to be talking about our kids in school, learning, and going out and trying to be somebody. Daniel Van is going to be on the program. And then at 9:30, we're going to celebrate our last Idaho legislative update. And I really want to say a big shout-out and thank you to Senator Kelly Anthon, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and today Representative Fred Wood is going to handle the program. They're going to talk about a wrap-up of the legislative session. And then also a big thanks to Handy Truck Lines for sponsoring that. At 10:06 this morning, he's going to waltz into the studio and give us some history. Dr. History will be here. And then at 10:30, I've got a guy that I've never had on my program before, and I'm looking forward to having him on. He's going to be talking about government and politics and how maybe we're being led by the nose sometimes. Robert Waples will be on the program, so don't miss that. Let's see, what else have I got here? I want to remind you, too, that we will have Lunch Munch this Thursday. Yes, this Thursday at 11:30 at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. And our thanks again go out to Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, Pomerell Place, and Denny's. They always help us with our gift certificates, etc. And that's going to be at 11:30 this Thursday at Denny's, America's Diner. If you've never been there before, don't be a stranger. Just walk on in. Choked. Walk on in, sit down, and just sharing the fun. We just have a lot of good times. That's this Thursday at 11:30. Going to send it over to Wheels right now. He's wild with anticipation to throw the toggle switches and send us to CBS News. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, my. Here we go into hour number 2 on a kind of a dark and gloomy day, first day of spring, but take heart. Take heart. It's going to get better, and we're all going to celebrate warmer temperatures and sunny conditions. Maybe not for the next couple of weeks. Good morning, I'm Zeb Bell. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations celebrating a big spring tire sale right now, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. They are helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's talk to our good friends about Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Do you need a dumpster, Bunky? Let me tell you, they've got dumpsters in various sizes. Itty-bitty for those that don't have a lot of trash, medium-sized, and then great, big, humongous dumpsters for like me. I got to clean this office out this spring. That's a warning from my better half. Anyway, I urge you to give them a call at 734-6969, Western Waste Services. They are always at your disposal. They'll drop the dumpster off, you fill it up, they'll come and get it. Easy. Right there, Western Waste Services. You call them today. Want to remind you, too, about Airvana, defined as the ultimate level of comfort that you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. And when you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Oh, my. Airvana is just another way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. Before we get our guest on for this hour, I want to remind you, too, about some people that are really serving you and your family in a time of need. When there's a passing of a loved one, they are there to serve you, always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Who am I talking about? Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, with our dear friend Joel Heward, his family, his staff, always taking care of you and your family. And they don't have hours of like definitely 8 to 4. They have flexible hours to serve you and help you. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and I believe this lady, it's the first time on my program. I hope it won't be the last. She is an internationally award-winning author, former television personality, and national literacy advocate, best known for her internationally award-winning young adult 4-part series called The Whiz Bang Machine. Good morning, Danielle Van. How are you?
I'm well. How are you this morning?
Well, just peachy, Danielle. Thank you for being on the program, and I think you and I are going to get along really great. I'm an advocate that kids need to get up off their derrieres and go do something with their education and all the opportunities in this country that are afforded them. But what are your thoughts about the way the schools are being run as far as the math and the reading and everything? What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, well, we are failing. That's what my thoughts initially is. Right now, the stats and what's happening in education is pretty gloomy. We have about 44% of our adults reading at a 4th grade level. 19% of our high school seniors that graduated just last year did so without learning to read. And we have moved away from, the basics, our math, our reading, our writing, in order to push testing, and it's causing a major disruption for our children.
When you say all this, I already 100% agree with you, but why in the world and how in the world did we get away from the basics of things people need to communicate with the world? People need to know math skills. They need to know how to read. For heaven's sakes, 4th grade level reading? What's going on here? Why were they allowed to pass and get out of school in the first place?
It's frightening, isn't it? It's one of those things that you stand back and you do scratch your head about. The first part of that question is the fact that we have gone to what's called test preparation teaching. It's happening in every state. When we repealed No Child Left Behind and we replaced it with Common Core and all of those other programs that took its place, we really made our teachers go to this test preparation teaching style. So our kids are learning, they're using technology, which is another issue. We'll talk about that in a second. But they really are being only taught what they need to learn to pass the test. Our teachers are being graded themselves on how our students are doing that. So if they can pass the test, then they're moved forward. If they can't pass the test, they're given another opportunity to take that test again and again and again until they get up to a 70. And that's passing. So we keep doing this to our children at a major disservice and passing them to the next level until you have a 19% graduation rate of people who can't read and write.
Yeah, Daniel, let me stop you right there and ask a question. And I maintain, and I'm not saying this in all cases, I'm not trying to make a generalized statement or anything like that, but I maintain that the teachers, the new teachers coming out of our colleges and universities, maybe with 1, 4, 7, 8 years experience, maybe this is just a cop-out and an easy way for them to just sit there, get their paycheck, and go home. Am I wrong?
I agree to some extent, and on the other end, from the teachers that I've spoken with in so many various states and school districts, they feel like their hands are tied, and they're asking for more help. They're going to their principals and their school boards and their states and onward, and really, at the end of the day, it's coming down to what's being handed down from our federal government. And they feel like I have to do this in order to collect that paycheck. And if I don't, then I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do and have a job later on. Sort of a circular issue at this point.
Well, I can say honestly, and the reason I kind of led you into that part of the conversation is because here in this area, I do a weekly show on my show called School Days in Cassia County, and I am absolutely blown away with the talent and the caring and the innovative ideas of the teachers and staff in this area. And you don't need to just throw a great big checkbook at the problem and think it's going to get solved. It takes people and it takes thinking.
Right. Agreed. 100%. The other thing that I know the teachers that I've spoken with and I've seen myself when I'm in schools and I teach my writing workshop is technology. And unfortunately, so many school districts have gone to Chromebooks and iPads and even using cell phones in the classroom to teach. Many school districts have gone away from even providing a hard copy of a book for their textbook in replace of these technology items. And studies have shown that when we use these to learn, we go into what's called mindless processing. And mindless processing is exactly the same thing that tells us, hey, you need to take a breath. You can walk from here to there. And so we aren't processing the information and retaining it like we should any longer. So again, we're learning just for that test part, and once that information is used, we're releasing it. And that also is causing a major shift in education and in our literacy problems.
You know, Danielle, I have maintained for a long time, and there's so many things we can talk about here this morning, but the technology and the technocracy and everything that these kids have right at their fingertips, they're not learning how to be kids. They're not learning how to become young adults. They're not learning what's available in life. They're not taking their eyes off anything but a screen. They don't know how to go out and work with Dad in the backyard, digging a hole to plant a tree, or going out and saddling a horse and going for a ride some Saturday afternoon. They just don't know.
Right, exactly. And we don't see kids out on the street anymore because it's too dangerous. You know, it's too dangerous out there in the world. You better stay inside and use that technology. It's safer. Well, parents, you really have no idea what's going on those phones and those iPads if that's what you think. They don't know how to do those skills. Even studies and doctors are saying our kids don't even know how to use a pencil.
Oh, my.
Most of them don't know how to sign their name in cursive because that also is not being taught. Those fundamentals of writing are not there. Our kindergartners are expected to know how to read before they even get there, and yet we are bringing those children into our school system much earlier than ever before. So we're seeing 4- and 5-year-olds starting in kindergarten. They're simply not ready. So we're giving them an opportunity to fail before they even get into the school system. Right now, we have 50 million kids in our school system, public and private, in the United States, and we're looking for a 10% increase by the time fall happens. And we're cutting budgets, and we're increasing technology issues. It's just really a big downfall in our society right now.
Well, let me ask you this, and bear with me on the use of the phrase, but how do we get back to the future? In other words, how in the world are we going to regress to the point where they learn how to use a pencil, they learn how to write phrases and paragraphs and be understood, and how do they figure, well, with a pencil, 2 + 2 is 4? I mean, how are we going to get back to some common sense thinking in education?
I love that, back to the future. It's so true. So I think, and from all of the research and all the people I've spoken to, and even as a parent myself, I think it's time for our parents to come back to the table. This is a home issue as much as it is an educational issue and a societal issue. So we need to bring 20 minutes of reading, a minimum, each day into our homes. You know, we're spending 75 minutes on average every day on social media or watching television or whatever that might be. It's time to take some of that away and get 20 minutes of reading under your belt. The child or even the adult that does that is exposed to 1 million unique words every single year. The kids that are not doing that are exposed to 5,000 unique words. It's proven to change scores and common thinking and all of that. So it's time to do that. But it's also time for our parents to support our teachers and for our teachers to tell them what they need. So if they're saying, hey, do 20 minutes of reading, you do 20 minutes of reading. Also, go to your school boards. We need those literacy programs in our school systems. Quit cutting them out. And to write letters to your Congress people. They want to hear from you so that we don't see $27 million worth of literacy cuts, which is what's proposed for 2019. We just have to be active, grassroots.
I want you to talk a little bit, and on this program I'm pretty blunt. If somebody's toes are stepped on, they shouldn't be dancing in the first place. I want to talk a little bit about the parents. I think that it's too easy. Sometimes it's too much of a crutch or an excuse for parents today to say, oh, I'm too busy. Why, I've got to go out and make a living. You know what? My dad had 2 jobs, and he went from 5 in the morning, and then he came home at about 4 in the afternoon, cleaned up, went to another job during the evening. My mother was a full-time secretary, and God bless both of them. They were really, really busy, but they always had time to help my sister and I and maintain and service the rules that were in our household, that we had to do certain things. And I think that's what's missing, and parents sometimes use that as an excuse and a crutch.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And I can tell you from my experience is parents are using those school systems as babysitters. My friends, that is not what it's for. It is for education, and it is your duty, period, to step up and support that school system. It is not there to raise your children. And if you're using that, this is where we're seeing a lot of the problems. It's always mind-boggling to me when I hear, whether it's the news or a parent or even a teacher say, well, they didn't even have an idea that little Timmy was having such a problem. Well, isn't that the beginning and the root of the problem to begin with? The answer is yes. And that's where the teachers are really struggling right now, is that they are sending information home. Parents aren't even taking the time to pull out the folder and look. They're not taking an active interest in their children. You are never too busy to support your child.
Amen. Now, I just heard something this morning that drove me right up the wall. University of California, Santa Cruz, they are making it a list of what you can and can't say on campus. They are making a list of non-tolerated statements, one of which was and is, America is a land of opportunity. They don't want you to say that anymore. They don't want you to come out and brag about America and a land of opportunity. This is supposedly higher education, and these people that are educators and administrators of this college and university are acting as dumb as a post.
It's mind-boggling to me. So many phrases and even books. The books that we grew up with are now finding their ways onto the banned list because of their ideals. Well, ideas are what expand America. It's what expands our mind. We can continue banning phrases and books and all of these different things, but my friends, right now we're ranked 24th out of 65 educational systems. This is the powerhouse known as America, and we are failing. China's got us by everyone in their country right now has a 99% rate of literacy on all financial levels, on all genders, ranked number 1 in math, science, and reading globally. Yet we can't say that America is the powerhouse. Well, maybe this is some of the problem.
It is the problem, and I'll tell you something else that's the problem. Boy, we're on a roll here, lady. We're really going to make people upset. But here's another thing. We have babied and mollycoddled these kids, and we have said, oh, you can't go out for recess, and you can't run, you can't jump, you can't play because someone might get hurt. You might get a bruise on your knee. Over in the United Kingdom, I just read this story this morning. They are waking up over in Europe, and they're saying in the UK, oh, maybe it's time to bring risk back into our kids' playgrounds and in our schools so that they learn how to be resilient and have some grit. I say, for God's sakes, it's about time.
Yeah, that's an idea, isn't it? Yes. Well, we can't all win. I know as a parent myself, I tell my children that. I have 3, and I say, you can't always win. Just because they want to give you the trophy doesn't mean you're always going to get it. And that's the same in education. You're not always going to pass the test. You have to do better in order to pass the test. You have to have a risk factor so that you have something to drive you forward. It comes down to so many levels.
Amen. Amen. We have a caller with a question, Danielle. Caller, quickly. I'm almost out of time. Go ahead, please.
One thing that gets me about the education system now is I have a 16-year-old, and they're already pushing college. He wants to do a trade school. He's not interested in college, but they're pushing him and our younger generations into going to college when there's so many college kids who come out with a degree and no job and a lot of financial debt. I'll let you go. Thank you.
You know, Danielle, this young man just brought up a very good point, and I've maintained it on my program for a long time, that college is not for everyone, nor should it be, and there are many, many trades that are lacking of good personnel to come in, electricians, plumbers, whatever. We need, I think, an open and honest appreciation of what the trade schools can do for our country.
I agree. You know, what's unfortunate is because of our educational system pushing that, you're seeing Fortune 500 and even Fortune 100 companies saying that 75% of them are having to go back and train their employees as they're walking in the door items that they should have learned in 5th and 6th grade. So if your child's not interested in going to college, but yet they have another career in mind, as parents, we have to say, you know what, that's okay. That's what you should be doing then. And our teachers and our school system have to support that as well.
Is it too late, Danielle? I mean, are we on a downhill slide into a open pit that we can't get out of, or can we turn this thing around?
Well, if we don't do something, we certainly are on that downward slide. I think that we have the power to turn it around. But one, it takes voices. It takes people like me, and it takes parents to say, hey, there's really simple things that you can do. 20 minutes of reading. Talk to your teachers. Go to those conferences. Find out what you can do to support your child and that school. It's attending the school board meeting. It's going into the public library and getting involved as well. It is writing your Congress people.
Absolutely. Now, I want you to tell me a little bit more about your young adult 4-part series called The Whiz Bang Machine. Give me a little thumbnail sketch of that.
Yeah, so it's a 15-year-old girl who is gifted a haunted typewriter, and she is, she finds out there are some secrets in her family's past, and her grandfather go on an ancestral search that leads them into a major curse that they have to break. It's been a lot of fun to write.
Well, I absolutely have enjoyed having you on the air, and I'm going to put the onus on you to come back because absolutely you're welcome. Thank you so much, Danielle Vann. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I'd love to.
All right. Have a wonderful day, and God bless. Thank you. I like that lady, and I'll tell you what, right straight out, I'm going to keep her name on file, and we're going to have her back. She is one sharp lady, internationally award-winning author, former television personality, and a national literacy advocate, Danielle Vann. Thank you very much. I'm going to save that name. Got to pay some bills. Yep. I do. Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street, Near Connection Credit Union. Hello, Dr. Bill and the staff over there at Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. And, you know, if you've got puppy dogs, you better make sure they get vaccinated for that parvovirus right now. And don't forget, too, that for all the guys that are still calving, they've got all your calving needs over there. Ark Animal Hospital is a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them all. They can take care of them all. These are really, really caring people. Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Heyburn, where they do have warm hearts for cold noses. Call them at 678-1177. I want to remind you, in just a few minutes, we're going to have our Idaho legislative update, so stay tuned for that. But I also want to acknowledge the fact my good old buddy Jeff Bronson and the rest of the staff over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, new shipments of carpeting and luxury vinyl planks. A huge selection. That means really big. Largest selection in the valley, and you can pick out your flooring today. And they've got all the sofas and the love seats and the recliners. I got to get in and talk to them about another recliner. And they've got mattress special, Simmons, that is, box sets only $3.99. Oh, this is the place to go. This is the place at 459 Overland in Burley. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. You stop in and see our good friends today. Really nice people. Don't forget Lunch Bunch coming up on Thursday, this Thursday, yes, day after tomorrow, at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. We urge you to be in attendance, and if you're new, come on in. And we want to say thank you to Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley, and, of course, also Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, Pomerell Place, and Denny's. Thank you. Going to be fun. Lunch Bunch, 11:30 on this Thursday. Want to remind you, too, that if you want to get outside in the spring and just head to the hills, go on a four-wheeler from Let's Ride. Oh, my goodness. If you don't have a four-wheeler or a side-by-side, you better get over there today. They've got an outstanding selection in their showroom, and along with all the accessories. And if you do have four-wheelers and you need to get them serviced before you take off this spring and summer, make sure you get a hold of Tyson and the crew at the best doggone service department around. Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. Let's Ride. This is where the fun is sold at Let's Ride. Right now, excuse me, a little frog in my throat this morning, I am going to acknowledge the fact that we have been blessed for about the last 6, 7, 8 weeks with the sponsorship of our Idaho Legislative Update by Handy Truck Lines. Thank you, Clay Handy, and the rest of the staff at 400 West, 100 South of Paul. Handy Truck Lines was established in 1928, and right now they are celebrating 90 years in operation, serving the entire Northwest. And they've got terminals in Pocatello, Meridian, Salt Lake City, Utah, serving, like I said, the entirety of the Northwest. And we want to say a special thank you to Clay Handy and the entire crew for sponsoring on our show the Idaho Legislative Update. And with me this morning, Representative Fred Wood, District 27, and good to have you on the program with kind of an update as to what's still hanging in the closet for the session or what's already been taken to the cleaners.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you?
I am good, Fred. I am peachy wonderful. What's going on up in Boise?
Well, I think the good news is that hopefully we will be done by Friday afternoon or Friday evening and on our way home. We just had a chairman's meeting this morning with the speaker, and if things go as planned, hopefully we'll be done on Friday and we'll be home.
Fred, one thing we have not done on this program, and I think it would be worthy of you taking 2-3 minutes and explaining this. What is an average, if there is, day in the life of a representative up at the session? I mean, what do you do in the morning, first thing when you get to your desk? What happens when you're on the floor of the House? What does an average presentation of bills look like during the course of the day? Tell us kind of a painted picture verbally of what goes on up there.
Okay, well, let's just take a day in the life of Fred Wood. I wake up somewhere around 4:30 in the morning, no later than 5. I get up, make a cup of tea, go get on the treadmill for an hour, go get cleaned up, get in a suit, and I'm typically in my office here in the Capitol by about 6:45, 6:30, 6:45, depending. Mm-hmm. The first thing I do is the Secretary is here shortly after that. We sit down, we go over the agenda real quick for the committee meeting that day, get out and review any legislation just to make sure that I remember it, because every single bill that a committee chairman has, you can't pay attention to the bill when you're running the committee. The committee is busy enough that you have to manage the people, you have to manage the people who come to testify, etc. Typically, I go upstairs, spend a minute or two with the speaker, check in, make sure things are okay, try to get an update on any special news that's going to happen that day, when we're going to go on the floor, etc.
typical committee meeting starts at either 8:30 or 9 o'clock. It depends upon when the floor session starts. Early in the year, floor session starts at 11. Later on, it starts at 10. This morning, it started at 9 o'clock. And I've got a couple of pair slips upstairs, so I won't miss the vote on the bills that they'll be attending to while I'm talking to you on the phone. Then a quick break for lunch, and lunch is typically a working lunch here. You don't go off somewhere and not talk about business. Here, lunch is always a working lunch where you're talking business. You get back here by 1 o'clock, you're back on the floor or in committee meeting by 1:30, or if there's an afternoon floor session, then typically when the afternoon committee meeting is done, sometime around 3:30, then you take appointments if people want to talk to you. That's the time you do your homework. You read the bills for the following day. You read the bills that are going to come up for the vote the following day, etc. Homework typically winds up about 6:30 at night. Then frequently you go to dinner somewhere off campus, and you wind up going with people who, again, is typically a working evening. I get home about 10 o'clock at night, go to bed, and wake up the next day and do the same thing over again.
I can appreciate that. I was going to ask you one thing of the numbers of different bills that are on proposal. Do you read the entire bill, or do you get a printed out synopsis so that you can give due diligence to every bill instead of having to page through everything?
There is no synopsis of a bill. You have to read the bill. The bills that are before both of my committees, the Health and Welfare Committee and the Resource Committee, I make sure I read every single bill word for word. The other bills that come up, if they're bills that are any importance, I read them completely also.
Mm-hmm.
We even had a couple of bills this year that are over 50 pages.
Wow.
That took several hours of a weekend to read those bills. And by the way, if you're going to be a good legislator, you don't take the weekend off and do nothing. What you do is you see what's coming down the pike for the following week, and that's when you sit at home and you read your bills and you make notes on those bills so that when I come up for a floor vote on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, then you've got your floor notes, you've read them. If you've got any questions, you go to the sponsor ahead of time, say, hey, I don't understand this bill, what are you trying to do here, etc. So typically, either you briefly read them or you read them in detail, depending upon how lengthy the bills are, etc.
On an average, Fred, for my listeners, how many, and maybe there's not a numerical average you can give me, but how many bills on an average do you have to read every week to be up to speed, basically, as to what's going on?
The week varies so much, but this I can tell you. On the floor, we vote on average about 400 to 450 bills every year.
Wow.
So that means that, I've been here 12 years, what that means is that I've voted on roughly 5,000 bills, and I've read 5,000 bills or more, because some of the bills that you read and argue about in committee fail in committee, and those aren't the ones that make it to the floor. So I think it would be very safe to say that somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 bills, and I don't know how many pages of material that would be, but it would be a significant amount.
Now, when you look at the end of the session looming near in the next couple of days, what constitutes wrapping things up? I mean, what kind of loose ends do you as a legislator have to take care of? What about the Speaker? What about the majority of the House members? What do they have to do to make sure everything's taken care of?
Well, the Supreme Court, if you remember correctly, Governor Otter vetoed the grocery tax credit bill last year. eliminating the sales tax on groceries. That he was sued by 30 legislators. That case went to the Idaho Supreme Court, and the Idaho Supreme Court then subsequently stated exactly what needed to be done prior to a bill being eligible to become law. And what it is the following. First of all, it has to go through one House committee, then pass the floor of that House, the other House committee, pass the floor of that House. Then it has to go back and forth. It requires the signature of both the Speaker, the pro tem. It has to be enrolled by either the House committee or the Senate committee that does the enrolling. And once that process is done and all of the signatures are there, then it has to be physically carried down to the governor's office and checked in. Every single bill has to go through that process. And if you miss a single step in that process, then that bill cannot become a law, even if everybody agrees that it should be.
Wow.
So, and that's what got fouled up some years in the past. So, wrapping everything up, make sure that every single I is dotted and every single T is crossed in the process.
I've got a picture in my mind's eye that when Speaker Scott Becky brings down the gavel for the last time, it's like survival of the fittest trying to hit the exits and go home, right?
That's exactly right. I'll tell you, everybody loves home a lot better than they like Boise and the Capitol, particularly after you've been cooped up here having to work with one another for 14, 15, 16 hours a day. Everybody gets out of there immediately.
But I would imagine, though, that after, 12 years of service, that you get a feeling of gratitude on the way home after you leave the Boise city limits and are heading for Burley. Wow, we really accomplished a lot during this session.
And I think this is one of the particular sessions that we did accomplish a lot. We showed up here, and due to a couple of unfortunate incidents, one with a member of the House that had just resigned, Representative Hickson, and the Speaker's assistant, her husband passed away of a heart attack. Everybody got to work on day one, Zeb. It's been a pretty good session, but we've accomplished a lot. We really have.
What about from this day forward until the gavel's brought down from the last for the last time this session? What things are still loose ends that you particularly are addressing?
Okay. First of all, there was a little hiccup last Friday in that the Superintendent of Public Instruction's appropriation bill that had in it funding for a reading assessment program was voted down on the floor of the House. Now, that's fairly rare to do that because there was a major dispute about that reading assessment program. So JFAC met last night. They kicked out a budget this morning, and so we've got to work like heck to get that done by Friday. It's got to go to one House, and it's got to go to the other House, back and forth a couple of times, the appropriate signatures. That's one thing that has to be done. Secondly, yesterday afternoon, the House Health and Welfare Committee kicked out the governor's dual waiver program again. So that'll be up on third reading on Thursday. So we've got to push like heck to see if we can get that done before we go home. There's House Bill 658, which is a private property rights bill, or the trespass bill. Originally it was 563. It's over on the Senate side, and they are amending the heck out of it. They're actually probably going to radiator cap that bill, which means a whole complete new bill, but keep the same bill number. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what the amendments look like. Supposedly it's supposed to be much more friendly to sportsmen. Hopefully that's the case. That's got to be wrapped up. the stockwater bill, House Bill 603, which is a very important water bill. There's apparently about 17,800 stockwater rights that the federal government holds that they have not put to beneficial use.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Trump administration, I think that there's an excellent chance right now to get those 17,800 water rights back into the state of Idaho and the permittees' ownership rather than the federal government's. And that bill's got to be rewritten this morning and heard in committee this afternoon, and get that one going. And then we've got some interim committees, and the Speaker wanted all interim committees to have an organizational session prior to going home. So those are the big pushes right now, in addition to just some of the usual bills that have come out of committee just in the past couple of days. But those are the big bills that are still out there pending that we've got to get done, and we've got to get them done by Friday morning.
You know, Fred, I want to go back and regress a little bit to what you said a few moments ago about the trespass bill. I did have quite a few calls of listeners that said the bill was a little vague and needed some scrutiny and maybe some rewording. What were your thoughts on that bill?
Well, first of all, the original bill 563 was really a bad bill. We managed to get that bill stopped. So then the sponsor and a bunch of senators and House members and other people got together and rewrote that bill, which turns into House Bill 658. 658 still had some problems. It was basically a good bill, but it didn't have enough safeguards for sportsmen, in my opinion. So the Senate agreed that they would amend that bill when it got there. So it's still on the Senate side, and my understanding is that there's 8 or 10 amendments to that bill that are going to be made, and I think they're very good amendments. For instance, the original bill said that permission can only be given for trespassing in writing. Well, that's been changed to where any legal means of permission would be usable, and that includes verbal permission.
Mm-hmm.
Verbal permission in some instances are legal. Another one was criminal trespass initially started out to be a misdemeanor first time. That's been reduced now to an infraction if there is no damage to property, etc. Next, Fish and Game's not going to have to pay any money for the form that they already have. They're just going to change a line on it, etc. And there's a bunch of other amendments, but those are ones that I know for sure. We're going to have to wait at least another 24 hours before we know exactly what that bill looks like and exactly what all of the amendments are, Zeb. But my understanding is that they're making it a much better bill.
Okay, now, we talked about what you do up at the legislative session, and I don't think a lot of people appreciate that our legislators, you and Speaker Bedke, Kelly Anthon, whomever from around the area, your job does not end at the end of the session. You basically are at the whim and call of anybody that has a problem that can be addressed by you during the course of the year. Is that not correct?
That is correct, and we get requests all of the time to go various places around the district, and our legislative district, District 27, is Cassia and Mendocino counties. But a lot occurs in adjacent counties that affect legislative District 27, so you're always traveling to particularly Twin Falls and particularly to Aberdeen, American Falls area. Because that whole portion of the Magic Valley is tied in, and almost anything that happens on one end of the Magic Valley is happening in the other. So literally, you can work 6 days a week throughout the year, just taking care of constituent problems, etc. And frequently, some weeks are very full.
You know, you are running for re-election this year, and it sounds to me like even though it is a grinding, day-by-day routine up there at the session, you really like serving Southern Idaho, don't you?
Zeb, I really do. And you know, I practiced medicine there for 30 years. And the Mini-Cassia area has some of the very best people on earth and some of the most enjoyable people and some of the most loving people. And that's what made me stay there when I came. And I just look forward to serving the Mini-Cassia area again.
I want to say how much I appreciate what you have done to help us with the legislative update, and along with Senator Kelly Anthon and Speaker of the House Scott Bedke coming on this program. We've kind of, in the last 4 or 5 years, turned this into an annual event. And also, Fred, while you're on the air, I'd like to give a great big thank you and shout out to Clay Handy and Handy Truck Lines for sponsoring this segment. We really appreciate them also.
And thank Clay for the three of us when you see him. He's a good friend of all three of us.
I will do that, and I know that you have got a lot of things to basically tie up the loose ends up there. And Representative Fred Wood, God bless you, and thank you for taking the time to come on our program this morning.
Zeb, thank you, and this will be the last of the session. So God bless to you and all your listeners, and I'll be back soon.
All right. Thank you very much to Representative Fred Wood, District 27, and on the Idaho Legislative Update. And I also want to reiterate again how much I appreciate Clay Handy and Handy Truck Lines and Paul. I mean, they jumped right in. And Clay Handy said, you bet, we're proud of the good men that our area continually sends to the legislature, and they were very happy to sponsor this segment. So again, my thanks to Handy Truck Lines. Clay Handy, thank you so much. Wow, we got to get a weather forecast on here right now. Let me turn the page, if you will, and tell you that the weather's brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. They're really good, top-notch professionals when it comes to the tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, retirement planning. You know, they are the pros at what they do. And this is tax time. They are busy. And, you know, they can help you with your business if you want to expand your business and whether you want to hire more employees. They can help you with anything, you, your family, and your business. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Right now, here's the weather.
Looks like precipitation is going to be in the forecast for today and throughout the rest of the week. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Slight chance of rain showers, possible snow showers this afternoon, especially up in the higher elevations. Mostly cloudy skies, high close to 50. Tonight, isolated showers. Mostly cloudy skies with a low of 36. For tomorrow, 40% chance of showers, mostly cloudy skies, high close to 60. Winds are going to be picking up tomorrow as well. For Thursday, showers likely, about an 80% chance, high near 60, and winds are going to be picking up gusts as high as 30 miles an hour. For Friday, slight chance of rain or snow showers before noon, partly sunny by the afternoon, and a high of 52.
And thank you, Gina. I appreciate that. Brought to you by some people that I can guarantee you they're burning the midnight candle right now, and that's Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. It's tax time, and work with the best. That's not just saying a bragging statement. That's the truth. They are. We have had our operation over there with them, and they have certainly helped us. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, as I said, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. Be sure and stop in. Give them a call. Burley and Rupert locations, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Oh, I got time for a couple of phone calls. Give me a jingle, if you would. I'd love to hear from you about any subject that you want to bring up this morning. You know, I was talking to that lady, Danielle Van. And this is really the truth. Over in the United Kingdom, they are absolutely going to turn things back. They're going to turn the clock back to when kids were kids And they're going to let them be kids. They're going to let them go out on the playground. They're going to let them, I'll just read you a little bit of the excerpt from the New York Times. They say that there's a growing movement in Britain to bring risk into playground experiences. Measures include, erecting handmade play equipment like a 20-foot climbing tower, leaving intact all kinds of bushes that are out there around the playground, and supervising children in the use of how to handle knives and saws and other tools so they know what they can and can't do, and building fires in the right play area. This is great. This is great, the way it should be. Congratulations and kudos to the United Kingdom. They are bringing common sense back to being a kid and learning as children. Wow. I read this story and it's absolutely fantastic. Somebody's finally turning the clock back and saying the way things were are the way things ought to be. Golly, where have you heard that before? Right here at the end of this program every single day. Hey, by the way, I know some folks that are serving you with the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits, and that is, of course, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Caller, I'll be right there. Hang on. And don't forget, all you need to do is make an appointment. They can help you, your family, and your business. They are dedicated and responsive to your needs. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, 436-4424. Caller, good morning to you.
Good morning again already.
My heavens.
Yeah. I'd just like to kind of give you an update of how lucky we are to live in Idaho and this particular area. And that is, like in Las Vegas, which is in Clark County, Nevada, there is an additional 10 cents a gallon gas tax on that. That's in addition to what's already on there.
Yeah.
And this money goes to law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, now they've come out with, since the first of the year, that all people will have to have an insured motorist. Now, I don't see any problem with that, except to register your car, you've got to take out a policy. I don't know whether it's with the state or just how it works, but it will cost you $45 a month in addition to what you're already paying.
Wow. Keith, I wished I had more time to go into these subjects and really treat them fairly, but I do not. You can look at your Timex and you can see I've got to make a run to the news right now from CBS, but I will be more than happy to exercise more open-mindedness towards these topics tomorrow during that first hour, but I thank you for calling. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, buddy.
You have a wonderful day.
I will, sir.
Bye.
Thank you very much. We're going to wrap things up for this hour. Dr. History is coming up next hour. Don't miss it. And we'll send it to the news from CBS. Wheels, take it away. Oh, here we go. Man, things are running good this morning. Dr. History showed up. Anyway, Zev at the Ranch brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a big spring tire sale right now. And also some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with Nick Greenwell and the crew, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Hey, by the way, Easter's right around the corner, and I know a couple of businesses that really want you to celebrate and have a great Easter, like Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, you can get caps made 20% off and free embroidery. Said that word wrong the first time. And don't forget, too, they've got an Easter gift shop sale. Everything is on sale, and when you spend $50, you'll receive receive a free flour sack dish towel. When you spend $100, you get a free canvas tote at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. And also Book Plaza at 222 West 11th Street in Burley. What a wonderful place to go. I don't know if you knew this or not, but it's also the home of the National Pioneer Hall of Fame. And you'll never go away empty-handed. They got all the precious moments, figurines, and all the thousands and thousands of books. Everything at the Book Plaza, 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Oh, and by the way, let's not forget, like we've been telling you all morning long, Airvana is defined as the ultimate of comfort when you'll achieve the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system in your home. And when you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can save up to $1,700 in rebates. Wow. Airvana is just another great way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459. And now here he is with his entourage waiting outside in his old, dirty, dinged-up pickup, Dr. History.
Good morning, Zeb. You're just bragging.
Oh, let's not go there.
Okay, all right. Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
You were gone last week.
Yeah, we went up to North Idaho to Coeur d'Alene to see my daughter, spend a week, and you know, every time I drive through that western Montana area, just when you talk about big sky country,
I love it up there.
And as I drive through there, I'm thinking, this looks exactly like it did several hundred years ago.
Did you go through Victor, Montana?
No, we went up through Dillon and up that direction, but I think of Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce. And
how did they do what they did?
You know, when we came back, there was kind of a ground blizzard going on, wind blowing, snow, and I thought about the Indians, you know, and making their trek. Anyway, beautiful country. Love it up there.
What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about another Indian tribe. And, Zeb, I'm going to bet you've been to the thriving metropolis in Nevada of Winnemucca.
So many times.
Okay. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So we're gonna.
And there was a chief named.
Well, don't steal my thunder.
I didn't know it was going to rain.
So here we go. All right, 1864, 20-year-old Sarah Winnemucca. That was her name. She was a Paiute Indian, stood on the stage of the music hall in Virginia City, and as the audience arose, their applause was thundering praise for this young lady. Her father was Chief Winnemucca.
What year was that again?
1864.
Really?
Yeah. And Sarah and her father were there. They hoped that a presentation would kind of mend the tension between the white settlers and the northern Paiute Indians, as well as maybe get some food and clothing to keep the Paiutes from freezing to death that winter. It was the beginning of a journey that would take Sarah on a journey of destitution and sickness, and she attempted time and time again to bring understanding between the two cultures. Mm-hmm. So Sarah Winnemucca was born in 1844 near the Humboldt River, just prior to the great gold rush in the plains of California. Captain Truckee, the Paiute chief, was Sarah's grandfather.
Well, they named Truckee, California after him.
Right.
Yeah.
And he actually, and we've mentioned this before, the Indians a lot of times helped the whites, more times than what they hurt them. But anyway, Captain Truckee even served as a guide for parties heading west, and he considered the white man his friend and peer. Well, Sarah spent her early childhood beside her mother and other Paiute women and children, traveling miles each day, gathering roots, herbs, and wild seeds to flavor the fish and ground squirrels. I know that's one of your favorites.
Oh, man, I just crave those gophers.
And large game. And then another one of your favorites, Zeb, is crunchy delicacies of roasted crickets and grasshoppers.
I'll tell you what, Deanne and I would walk naked in the hailstorm to get those crickets.
Hey, this is a family show. Anyway, grasshoppers and crickets, they're great roasted, I guess. I would try one. But anyway, so
you don't know what you ate in Africa.
That's true. So, the Paiutes, they were hunters and gatherers, and they weren't really prone to settling down and doing farming. That was not their thing. But the Paiutes kept their past alive by relating ancient tales, and one of the myths is the story of what they called the cannibal owl, who would snatch naughty children, pound them into a pulp, and eat them. Is one of their typical legends.
What a nice bedtime story. You're sitting around the teepee trying to get your kids to go to sleep, and you tell them that?
Yeah, you say, you better go to sleep or the cannibal owl is going to get you.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, but, you know, when her father first described the white men, Sarah believed that they might be people that would eat them. And so she was really afraid of white people at the time.
No
Which
kidding.
a lot of them were, really, because they'd never seen them, been
Did
around
she
them.
really know Nancy Pelosi?
I don't know. But, you know, as the white miners and the settlers got further into their territory, Sarah's people learned to avoid the newcomers, and encounters usually ended in tragedy for the unsophisticated Paiutes. One incident, Sarah's mother, Tubatani, and other women were gathering seeds when a band of white men approached, and as Tubatani ran, little Sarah and her cousin were lagging behind, and they weren't able to keep up with the adults. So rather than endanger the entire band, their mother, Tubatani, actually dug a hole in the sand and ordered the two little girls into this kind of little ditch or little hole, and then she pushed dirt on top of them and then spread sagebrush over their heads to protect them from the sun, and she left and told them, I will be back. But they kept running. Well, so here's this little girl, Sarah, with her cousin, you know, afraid to death that the white men would find them, or coyotes, or, you know, what's going to find them? Well, all of a sudden she heard some rustling in the bushes, and here's what she said happened next. She said, at last we heard some whispering. We did not dare to whisper to each other, so we lay still. I could hear their footsteps coming nearer and nearer. I thought my heart was coming out of my mouth. Then I heard my mother say, tea is right here. Oh, can anyone in this world ever imagine what were my feelings when I was dug up by my poor mother and father?
Was this in the, what we know now, current Winnemucca area?
You know, I'm not, if it's exactly there or somewhere in the northern Nevada, California area. So, anyway, so Sarah's grandfather, as I mentioned, is chief or Captain Truckee, and he ruled the northern Paiutes compassionately. Like I say, he guided whites into California. In 1851, he took a contingent of Paiutes to California to learn the white man's ways. I think he kind of knew what was coming, and so he was, I think, trying to prepare his tribe for what he knew was going to happen eventually. But anyway,
They sound like a real peaceful tribe.
Right, they were.
Yeah.
So, but you know, after returning to their homeland, Chief Winnemucca sent Sarah and her younger sister Elma to live with a guy by the name of Major William Ormsby, who ran a stage depot, and then at that time that was part of the Utah Territory.
So they trusted him as a white.
Right. Yeah, and the Ormsbys taught the girls to speak and write English, and in return, Sarah and Elma worked in their store, helped with household chores, and were companions for the little kids.
And what town was that in?
Well, it was in Utah Territory, so
see.
not sure really where that was.
Okay.
But the Ormsbys' kindness toward the two girls during the year they lived with them pretty much alleviated some of the doubts that Sarah had about the white people. And they thought the whites were savages, you know, so there was a learning thing on both sides.
Yeah.
But it may have been during this time that she acquired her English name of Sarah, and her sister became known as Elma, because that was not their Indian names.
Mm-hmm.
But by the winter of 1858, the influx of white settlers had devastated the herds of the game, the fish, the plants, the seeds, all these things that the Paiutes relied on to sustain them for the winter. And then, of course, you know, you and I have been there, the winds that howled and the snow that drifted, and, you know, the Paiutes were forced to ask for assistance from Virginia city citizens.
Right.
So we're over there in the kind of the western Nevada, kind of northern California area.
You know, did the Paiutes, I'm interrupting you here, but I know you're so smart you can cope with it. Did the Paiutes and I forgot the name of the tribe all of a sudden in Northern California, they had a big war there. I'll think of it in a minute. Did they join? The Modocs. Modocs. Did they join forces?
Not that I know of.
I see.
Not that I know of. But anyway, they needed clothes and food to make it through the winter. And But as I mentioned, she was pleading with people and not getting any results. A lot of people froze or starved to death.
That's sad.
Well, the following winter brought little relief and even colder temperatures. Well, old Chief Captain Truckee, he was kind of sensing that death was coming, and he requested that his son, Winnemucca, and Tubatani, the mother, send Sarah and Elma to school in California. So again, he had some foresight, wanting his grandkids to learn, English and some of the things.
They weren't relegated to a reservation,
well,
were they?
eventually, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so they did. They went to San Jose. But after a few weeks of school, the white parents objected to their children sitting next to the Indians and insisted that they leave. Well,
oh boy.
The white settlers, the prospectors, and businesses now dominated the West. Virginia City boasted a white population of almost 15,000, and they wanted the Paiutes off the good, productive land, which historically that's what always happened.
Yeah.
So the natives were already restricted in where they could hunt and fish. So there was somewhat of not really a reservation, but a restriction, I guess you could say. But the white population wanted to determine where the Indians could live, pledging to provide food, clothing, farming equipment if the Indians would stay within their reservation boundaries. None of this ever materialized. Now, Chief Winnemucca was now the chief because Truckee had died, and so this was his son, and he took this to the people of the citizens of Nevada. And as I mentioned in the beginning, he walked onto this stage in this music hall with his daughter Sarah.
Wow.
She interpreted, and they basically were saying, hey, we need some help. We need food and we need clothing. We're staying where you want us to stay.
And this was way back in the
1860s, yeah. Well, the Paiute group continued on to San Francisco, and they made another plea before an audience there. And, they were well received by the white population. But, again, nothing came of it. Nobody did anything. No. Well, in 1865, when Chief Winnemucca and his men were on a hunting expedition, a cavalry troop rode into the Paiute camp and accused the Indians of stealing cattle and killing 2 white men. Well, they refused to believe the Indians didn't do this, and there was bad things happened. They killed one of which was Sarah's mother, Tubatani. And here they are, a peaceful tribe, and unfortunately, a lot of times the cavalry would say, all Indians, if one Indian attacks us, they're all guilty. Yeah. And that's not true at all.
And this happened
1860s. It doesn't say exactly where it happened.
I see.
But I'm going to guess still up in the Nevada, California area.
Okay.
So, anyway, conditions on the reservation become unbearable. The Paiutes were desperate for food and clothing. Tempers flared between the whites and the Indians. The summer of 1868 brought no relief for the destitute Paiutes. So Sarah and her brother, whose name is Natchez, went to Camp McDermott, which was near the Oregon border.
Been there.
Okay, so
Many times.
kind of where we're talking about. So
There's nothing there. Hardly.
Yeah. But they were trying to get assistance from the Army. Well, recognizing her ability to speak several languages, English, Spanish, and various Indian dialects, the Army hired Sarah as an interpreter.
Really?
And Natchez, her brother, with the promise of protection and provisions for his people, was sent to bring in Chief Winnemucca, his dad. Okay?
Wow.
So
that was a little sticky wicket.
Yeah. So July, around 500 Paiutes chose to relocate their camp to Camp McDermott rather than starve to death. So they were doing everything they were asked to do.
And they'll starve to death at McDermott, for Pete's sakes.
Anyway, Sarah believed her people could become productive farmers if taught how to plow and to sow seeds. So, again, they were doing everything they could. In fact, here's a letter that was sent. It says, so far as by Sarah, she says, so far as their knowledge of agriculture extends, they are quite ignorant as they never had an opportunity of learning, but I think if proper pains were taken, that they would willingly make the effort to maintain themselves by their own labor if they could be made to believe that the products were to be their own and for their own use and comfort. Okay, so she's saying, we're willing to learn if we can have it for ourselves. Well, once again, nothing of a request in San Francisco resulted in anything. False promises, undelivered goods. Well, while they were still at Camp McDermott, there was a guy by the name of Lieutenant Bartlett, kind caught Sarah's eye, and so it was illegal to marry an Indian woman in Nevada, so they went to Salt Lake City and got married. Well, this Bartlett guy was a real gem.
You said that sardonically.
I did. Well, let's put it this way. He deserted from the Army, which is not a good thing.
First-class guy.
Yeah, he tended towards the liquor.
No.
Okay.
He was a boozer.
He was a boozer. The marriage was over within a year.
Oh,
anyway.
Well, the poor girl, what'd she do?
Yeah, well, we're going to keep going here. We're not done.
I figured you would.
So 1872 now. The Paiutes were relocated to this reservation by Camp McDermott.
So they moved the whole tribe there?
To there, yeah. So now they're on a reservation. Now there was an Indian agent by the name of Sam Parrish and his wife. They were well liked. They took care of the Indians. They were honest. They did everything they could to be a good Indian agent.
And this is at what's now McDermott.
Right, right. So because he, I guess, got a reputation of being too nice to the Indians, they relieved him of his duties.
Oh, my.
Gave them another agent by the name of Reinhardt. Well, he didn't like Sarah.
Never trust the guy.
Reinhardt blamed all the problems he encountered on Sarah's insistence for fair treatment of the Paiutes. He refused to pay them for work they performed and withheld the food and clothing, claimed Sarah was disloyal, threatened to put her in prison. Now, this is a young lady that had served as a guide for the military.
The Indian agent, per se, this Reinhardt, basically there was nobody above him they could complain to?
I don't know, but it didn't work. And actually, to make things worse, he banished her from the reservation, told her to get off. Okay? So now we're 1878, another year. Paiutes begged Sarah to help their starving families, and realizing that assistance had come from the highest power of the land, she decided to go to Washington, D.C.
Where did she get the money to do all this?
Well, I don't know. She just decided, they lived off the land. I guess she just thought, I can make it to Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Not that far.
Okay.
So
we're only talking 2,900 miles.
So she made it as far as the Oregon-Idaho border, where the Bannock tribe, they were as bad off as the Paiutes. They rallied against the oppressive Indian agent that they had, and with war pending, Sarah returned back to her people. She thought, I better go back.
So she went back to McDermott.
Right. Now, Chief Winnemucca refused to join the Bannock uprising. Okay, the Bannocks were going to war. Well, in retaliation, the Bannocks went and captured Chief Winnemucca and held him hostage. Well, when Sarah learned about this, she offered to go help get him free. So she went with General Howard again as a scout and as an interpreter. And nearing the Bannock stronghold, Sarah and maybe a couple others crawled on their hands and knees. They got into the camp of the Bannocks, and they were able to lead. They actually had more than just Chief Winnemucca. They had about 75 people.
Wow.
And Sarah was able to get her people free from the Bannocks.
And not get caught?
And not got caught. So, and after that, she actually continued to serve under General Howard as an interpreter and a scout during the rest of the Bannock War. She would go in and out of the enemy camp. She would steal their plans, intercept their signals, aided in capturing some of the Bannock warriors. I mean, she was a great help to the military.
Yeah.
So, anyway, 1878 now, another year. The Bannock War is over. The Army, however, considered, and I mentioned this, all Indians prisoners of war regardless of the tribe. Well, the Paiutes were ordered to Yakima Reservation in Washington Territory.
Long.
So now they're going even farther north, 350 miles farther north, in the middle of the winter. Okay? Blankets, worn out shoes, middle of the winter. Now we're January 1879. They're heading over there, 50 wagons, crossing the mountains of Oregon and Washington. People died, froze to death.
Really?
And once again, the Paiutes were promised clothing and food. End of the journey, what awaited them? They had an unheated 150-foot shed. Okay, no firewood, very little food. So imagine all these people. Here's a 150-foot shed
up at Yakima,
up there somewhere, and they're supposed to go live in that.
Wow.
So they got a little bit of the goods. They got some shawls and a little bit of fabric, but everything else had been sold to the highest bidder. Anyway, she eventually taught school in Yakima. She was determined to help her people. She decided she was going to go back to Washington, D.C., and she actually did make it back there, but still nothing became of it. She ended up getting married again. to a guy named Hopkins. Not so lucky again. This guy,
two-time loser.
Two-time. This guy liked the gambling halls and the saloons, and imbibed in a little of the alcohol.
Yeah.
So anyway, she actually made friends with some people that arranged for her to go do some lectures.
Right.
And she actually did some lectures and absolutely was able to make some money. She actually did speak before Congress. A bill was passed giving each family 160 acres of Nevada land. It was not good land. And it'd been, most of that had been gobbled up by the miners. But anyway, she died in 1891. She was only 47 years old. She never quit fighting for her people.
I would imagine that a lot of the Paiute tribe members today are direct descendants that live right there in that area. As a matter of fact, I know a couple of the families there. I'm very, very good friends with a couple of the families, and I did not know, nor was I aware of that story. I'm going to have to ask them about that.
Yeah, Sarah Winnemucca, an amazing woman that, against all odds,
really
finally made it to Washington, D.C., and still didn't get very good results.
I know one family in particular. I'm going to call them and ask them about their heritage down there in that area. But I wonder if there was any genealogy or records kept or anything as far as their ancestors from that period of time.
Right. And, of course, a lot of it was word of mouth, passed down.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking as we got into maybe the early 1900s that a lot of those stories were still fresh.
Right.
And
we're only talking about 30 years or so.
Yeah, and so I'm sure that things were written down.
Yeah.
And that would be amazing if we could find the actual...
See, we said on this program one time it'd be really neat to follow up some of these stories with people that absolutely were the ancestors.
Exactly. I would love, if we have any listeners out there that have some information, just get on my webpage and send me a message.
Absolutely.
Because I will follow up on it, I promise.
He will, folks. He will. He's very diligent. Thank you, Dr. History.
You're welcome, Zeb. You have a good day.
Hey, listen, it's nice to have you back.
It's good to be back.
I don't like it when you're gone.
Well, thank you.
It makes more work for me. Okay. Thank you. I'll talk to you in just a minute. Right. Hey, don't forget Dr. History every Tuesday at 10:06. Good guy. Don't forget, too, on Thursdays we have a segment called Cassia County School Days, and we have a couple of sponsors that we really want to thank. A Child's World at 1308 Overland and Burley, a family store. Don't forget they've got all the games and the toys and the puzzles and the furniture and the clothing, everything. You stop in and see them today. A Child's World on 1308 Overland and Burley, along with Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland and Burley. Number to call to find out more how they can save you money on outpatient surgeries, 677-8888. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you School Days in Cassia County on Thursdays at 10:10. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studios. We will be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. I was hoping for the first day of spring that it would be like 65 and maybe sunshine. Didn't get that, did we? Anyhow, good morning and happy first day of spring. Right now, we're going to have a guest on that has a new book called Pope Francis and the Caring Society, and I can bet you 50 cents on every dollar that I'll probably mispronounce his name, and I'll stand corrected. Good morning, Robert Waples. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and you pronounced the name just right.
Well, good. Send the check after the program. Thank you very much. No comment. Okay.
Thanks for having me on.
Okay. Robert, I did a little bit of background on this book. Give us kind of a thumbnail sketch as to Pope Francis and the Caring Society. Tell me a little bit more so I have something to run on and ask questions.
Okay, so most of the contributors to the book, and I'm the editor and wrote the introduction, but most of the contributors are economists, and we're largely looking at kind of what Pope Francis has had to say about the economy and giving our reactions, trying to continue a dialogue with him. You may remember that he had an encyclical that came out a couple of years ago called Laudato Si, on the care of our common home, often called the environmental encyclical.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of thought in there about what needs to be done to help fix the environment, but also lots about the economy and how it's serving the poor, how it's serving the rich. And 20 times he uses the word dialogue in that encyclical, and so we kind of took up that and decided to, if we could have the Pope's ear, here's what we would want to tell him.
Now, when you say this, here's what we would like to tell him. What kind of a mission is he on, per se? I would perceive, and I'm going to say this, you feel free to correct me if you think I'm wrong, that the Pope Francis, I think, has stuck ore in water that he should not stir up as far as kind of denigrating capitalism, etc. Am I wrong?
And so I think there definitely is a degree to which that observation is on point, and so I guess it's important to kind of put the Pope into a broader context, and that is, popes have been writing encyclicals like this for well over a century now, and Catholic social teaching is actually very broad on what would be a good economic system. There's a lot of, obviously, moral teachings based on the Ten Commandments and the Gospel of Jesus, but that leaves a lot of room for then how we actually set things up to prudentially try to structure society so that we achieve those goals that have been graciously laid out for us. And at some points, there's been popes that have kind of gone over to one side of the stream in favor of a bigger role for government, maybe moving toward socialism, but never to socialism itself. Other times there have been popes who are kind of over on the other side, over toward the other bank. John Paul II clearly was over in that direction, and he had a lot of very positive things to say about how well a free market economy can solve a number of problems, but he never gave a complete kind of libertarian endorsement of it, nothing even close to that. And so I think Francis is kind of back over in the other direction, and most of the economists in this book are like, well, no, kind of need to move over back toward the middle of this stream because you're missing some things. You're missing some really powerful effects that a free market economy can have in solving some of the problems.
That's it exactly. That is it exactly. Anytime capitalism is removed, so is and are humanitarian efforts. There is more done to help peoples of the world in dire situations through capitalistic attitudes than there is through socialism.
Yeah, and there's a chapter in the book where the authors make that argument and lay things out in great detail, talking about the immense amount of wealth that a capitalist system does generate and how that just allows people to be more charitable. You have a lot more wealth to share, under a capitalist system. And Americans have proven themselves to be fairly generous, and sometimes out of a religious motive, sometimes not. But that definitely shouldn't be overlooked. And I guess one of the key things that the Pope overlooks is he makes some comments in the encyclical and other places he stated that give the suggestion that absolute poverty around the globe is growing. And yet it's pretty clear if you look at the numbers that somebody like the World Bank would put out, or the IMF, that in fact, thankfully, the trend is in the other direction. The World Bank calculates in the last couple decades over 1 billion people have been lifted out of absolute poverty, and their standard is really low. We're talking about people earning $2 a day or less. Americans cannot imagine living on, but people around the world do. 1 billion people have been pulled above that standard in the last couple of decades, basically in countries that moved toward using a market system. And China would be, a key example. 40 years ago, one of the poorest countries in the world, they started adopting market systems and allowing people to kind of use their property as they best saw fit and compete. And boy, has that country just flourished. Kind of communist in name only, some would say. And, India has seen much of the same thing happen. Most of Africa is growing economically very strongly as property rights have become more secure and people have been, tapped into their entrepreneurship, and we've just seen immense economic growth.
And Robert, should the Pope, I'm going to ask you a very blunt question. I would say no right up front, so you know my answer. But should the Pope have, any Pope that is in that position, have an agenda politically to try to steer the countries of the world to their way of thinking? I say no. I think it's very, very unfair.
Well, I think we all have our own agendas, and it's inevitable that the Pope any Pope is going to do that. I mean, his predecessors did. I think the reason that people have gotten, have reacted strongly to him is that he has moved so far over in one direction, and some would say kind of is straining beyond what the tradition of the Church and the teachings of his predecessors and Church Fathers have said, kind of on this issue and some other issues as well, and maybe pulling himself away from traditions of the Church. And one of the clearest traditions of the Church, and you can see this in the Bible, you can see this in Summa Theologica with Thomas Aquinas, is a very strong endorsement of the importance of property rights, so that property gets taken care of and doesn't get abused. And when somebody actually owns a property, they husband their resources. They don't waste their resources.
I would say this, Robert, and I'd like you to give me your feelings on this, that I think that whether it's Presbyterians, whether it's Lutherans, whether it is Catholics, whomever, I wish that more denominations would get involved and really speak up and speak out, because I think today, more so than ever before, there needs to be a voice from the church that politicians can hear and adhere to.
Mm-hmm. And actually, Christians of all varieties and people of other religions and people without religion always speak up on issues, and it's important to hear, I think, especially the Christian voice, which is increasingly getting told to shut up in our society. But, you think about the most pressing problems we have here in the United States. They're not actually economic problems. We are an incredibly wealthy country. The poor people in our country are above average when it comes to incomes by the standards of the rest of the world. And so we've really solved that problem immensely well of solving absolute poverty. And other countries around the world have then copied what we've done and other successful economies have done.
Yes.
I think our deepest problems are much more, moral problems than they are these economic problems.
Well, let me ask you.
There is an economic problem that's really emerging in this country that we should pay attention to. It's, what do you do when you become incredibly wealthy? How do you spend your wealth wisely and not, end up serving mammon instead of serving God? And I think the Pope has some really important things to say on this. He has some wonderful insights, including how so many of us have just gotten caught up in what he calls this whirlwind of consumption. And we got to get the latest thing and dispose of the last one that's now a couple of years out of date. Got to have the latest phone, Got to be, the spiffiest one that will impress the most people. And even though my old phone's perfectly fine, and I end up just spending all my time with that phone or my fancy car or my big house and get distracted by those things from what's really important. Those lesser lights of the world drown out the one true eternal light. That's his worry, and I think is a really important thing that needs to be thrown into our discussion.
I absolutely agree with what you said, but I want to go into the next part of our conversation. You are a professor of economics at Wake Forest University. I don't think there's anything wrong at all with telling the younger generation that you can go out and do and accomplish anything you want to in a capitalistic society like America. The sky's the limit if you have the drive and the work ethic, and that's what's missing today. We have lost in this country the work ethic to go out and achieve and succeed.
And, that's something we've nurtured so well throughout our history. And I think you're right that it is in danger. Every generation is in danger, but with this generation, it's definitely in danger that we lose these traditions about how important it is to work hard, to tap into your own ingenuity to solve these problems, to foresee problems that other people are going to have, offer them solutions. It helps the customer. It helps you as the entrepreneur create wealth. And in the long run, almost all the gains go to the customers. That's kind of the unstated, dirty secret of capitalism. The capitalists don't win. Some of them become billionaires, but, you know, in the great scheme of things, something like 97% of the gains end up going to the customers. We all win, even though we didn't come up with these great innovations. And so we don't want to stop that train of innovations at all. And I think you're entirely right that we need to nurture these things. And some other countries are starting to nurture them maybe better than us. I saw a poll a few years ago where they asked a question, something along the lines of, do you think that capitalism is a system that works and, you know, needs to be sustained and supported? There were a higher percentage of people in China said yes to that than they did in the United States.
Unbelievable. You know, Robert, I think I like you as a scholar and a professor and your line of thought. And I will say this. I think in accordance with what we read and hear daily about education really going on the liberal side, like what happened at Santa Cruz University, where they want to pass that you can't say anything like phraseology on the college campus that says America is a land of opportunity. That's on the list of things you're not supposed to say. I think I perceive that you're the opposite. America is the land of opportunity if you'll get up off the couch and go to work.
And, you know, and we just have a wonderful history of that. I teach a class on the economics of entrepreneurship, and we just look at the biographies of some very well-known entrepreneurs, you know, the John Rockefellers, the Steve Jobs of the world, and some more obscure ones. And it's just wonderful to see in action the kinds of challenges these people faced and how they were able to solve them, tapping into their own innate ingenuity, but also encouraged by the rest of society to do that. And it's important that we don't let that flame dim out here. I think at my college campus and lots of others, there are now programs to encourage entrepreneurship, kind of beyond the mere business school, but to kind of encourage the entrepreneur who's going to start the business and run the business. And so I don't think we're in danger of snuffing it out anytime soon, but you're right. There are some places where they definitely discourage this. They look down at their noses at this. Those are places, maybe the college you mentioned, that one should avoid, but we do have encouragement here in our society. And just look at the recent tax bill, right? We've reduced the marginal tax rates that that you have to pay, the cut that you've got to give to the government when you earn some money. We allow people to keep a little bit more, and that's going to encourage them to work harder and take these risks and do things that will allow the economy to grow.
You know, we hear so much about the negativity in our society today, Robert, and whether it's down at USC with the students standing there with a gimme mentality, I want this, I want that, but I don't want to work for it, I want you to pay for it. What do you say to students at Wake Forest University that come up to you maybe after class and go, well, gee, you mean I've got to put forth the effort to achieve this? Why doesn't the government just give it to me? What do you tell these kids?
I can't say I've ever had one come up and ask me that or even intimate that. And, you know, students know that you got to work to achieve something. They know that. And the people who tell them the opposite, I think maybe they're willing to go out and ask for a handout, but they know deep down that, no, you just can't, a society can't function on redistribution and just taking wealth from one group and giving it to another. They know that innately.
Have you thought about having a special seminar and bring in the Michael Moores and the Bernie Sanders and the Elizabeth Warrens and maybe reteach their thought?
That would be interesting. I used to use Michael Moore's Roger and Me. Remember that movie that came out back in the early 90s? All about GM? I used to use that in class. And what struck me was the reaction that I had from students. Just jump, you know, like they stuck their finger in an electric socket. No, this is wrong. That's not how things are supposed to be. Even when I taught at a state school before I came to Wake Forest, I remember one student titling his paper on this, the The movie was about GM and his experience with GM, and the student titled his paper GM Good Mother. And that's what Michael Moore's vision of the economy would be. That somehow your employer would be your mother and take care of you like your mommy does. You didn't actually have to. So, yeah, students react to that. And when they actually go and see what a Michael Moore has to say, the students I know go, that's just unrealistic. That's not the way it's going to work.
Well, keep up the good work, and I'm so glad that I had you on the program. Professor of Economics at Wake Forest University and editor of the Independent Institute's new book called Pope Francis and the Caring Society, Robert Waples. It's been a pleasure to have you on the program, sir, and I certainly hope you'll come back in the future. Thank you.
Okay, it was my privilege to be on. Thank you.
All right, sir. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Wow, that was to me inspirational, because there's a college professor at a major university, Wake Forest University, that has some really good, clear thinking on America. It's really a great place to live, and there's a lot of opportunity here. Wow, that was refreshing. Anyhow, let's go to the weather. That'll be refreshing, too, if you like to have rain and snow and wind and everything else. We'll get to that in a minute. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, with Don Scarrow and the crew. The number to call, 324-7657. Or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, my goodness, all the delicious meats. I'm going to twist Don Scarrow's arm someday to come on the program, and with it, come along with maybe some bratwurst. Oh, I love brats. And, of course, all the bacons and the smoked hams and the marinated prime ribs melt in your mouth. Delicious. Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Delicious. Right now, here's the weather.
Looks like precipitation is going to be in the forecast for today and throughout the rest of the week. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Slight chance of rain showers, possible snow showers this afternoon, especially up in the higher elevations. Mostly cloudy skies, high close to 50. Tonight, isolated showers. Mostly cloudy skies with a low of 36. For tomorrow, 40% chance of showers, mostly cloudy skies, high close to 60. Winds are going to be picking up tomorrow as well. For Thursday, showers likely, about an 80% chance, high near 60, and winds are going to be picking up gusts as high as 30 miles an hour. For Friday, slight chance of rain or snow showers before noon, partly sunny by the afternoon, and a high of 52.
Oh, Gina, thank you. And the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Hello, Don and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Scarrows Meats. Wow, I got time for a call or two. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Love to visit with you. So quickly get on the phone and give me a jingle. I had another story that I was going to try to get on. I don't think I have time. So just give me a call quickly and we'll talk about anything that you want to talk about at 436-2244. Quickly, I do need to remind everybody that this Thursday is Lunch Bunch Day. Yes, it is. And we're going to be over there celebrating St. Patrick's Day, which was last weekend. But wear green and everybody's going to get a Blarney Stone. Yep, they are. Everybody's going to get a Blarney Stone. And we urge you to be in attendance at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. We start at 11:30. I hurry out of here, hurry down there. Please, no police on Highway 30. And we'll be there at 11:30. And if you're new and have never been there before, come on in. We're all friends. We'd love to have you at Zeb's Lunch Bunch at Denny's Restaurant this Thursday at 11:30. And our thanks to all of our gift certificate sponsors, Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, Pomerelle Place, and Denny's. Going to be this Thursday at 11:30 at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Also, quickly, I want to remind you about our major sponsor. They have been riding the horse with us on this program for many, many years, and I really appreciate them. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Now, they're having a great big spring tire sale right now. They're getting you ready because they know you're going to plan some trips to Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred's, or maybe you're going to the Grand Canyon, whatever. Well, they've got all their tires. Boy, that's prices you can't afford to pass up, like the Ultra Z900. Woo! Ultimate in tire technology. This is a good one for your cars, the Ultra Z900 on sale. Or for your pickups, don't forget the Terramax HE or the Backcountry All-Terrain. You better get in and check out all these tire buys, along with the best in brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. And you can go to any one of the 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, really nice people, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, that's going to do it for me today, and we're going to come back tomorrow in force at 8:06, and we've got a lot of great guests coming on the program. Dave Bego, Brian Crabtree, Devin Thorpe. We've got a whole bunch of them coming into the old stable here to talk about various subjects, so don't miss a minute of it on Zeb at the Ranch, and we're on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., and then streaming live all over the universe on ZebBell.com. And Wheels, good job today, old buddy. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:06, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. See you tomorrow morning.